welcome back to Dirtbag Cinema, everyone. My name's Scott Decker, and I'm here with the two just cutest co-hosts you could ask for. Stephen King.
How's it going?
And Rick Teat.
I'm so flattered.
You should be. And, we cover everything here from Dolby to the Drive-In. This week, we're going to be covering the new big movie. The new movie in town, Mortal Kombat. Before we get into the main event, so to speak, you guys got any news? What's in the dailies?
Last week was in the movie world. I mean, you get mixed reviews on what people think of it these days. But we had our Oscars.
Oh yeah,
our delayed Oscars from this pandemic, I guess. But it was, I gotta say up front, we were kind of talking just off mic about how it was it's the lowest rated of all time. Viewership wise,
but it seemed like everybody kind of dug the new, like, relaxed style on how it was shot, kind of more cinematically. So it was, I don't know, kind of 50-50 Oscars. Nobody watched it, but the people who did watch it, oh yeah, it's not so bad. Not so bad.
Now, did they include the 2019 movies in this year? Because there wasn't an Oscars last year, right? There was?
Yeah, because that was January.
Yeah, January, February. It'd been right before everything.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
What am I thinking?
I don't know.
But yeah, it was a hybrid attempt. I think that I was happy with the Best Picture result. And I mean, I know we talked a little bit about it last week, but
me too.
I mean,
what do you think, Rick? What do you think about that Best Picture winner?
Now, I guess it's not really fair because I've only seen 2 of the movies that were nominated, but I don't know. You guys know my opinions on Nomadland. It may have been shot well and all this stuff. I just thought it was a snooze fest.
Snooze fest.
I really enjoyed Judas and the Black Messiah. So, I mean, I enjoyed that better than Nomadland. But, I mean, props to Frances McDormand. She's got
3 of those bad boys now.
3 of them. That's crazy.
That is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
What else? You know what the big story was? Like, I'm glad that Nomadland won, Francis won, was it Chloe Zhao won?
Zhao got it. Yep.
That's fantastic. But I am upset with people. I think I'm going to go off on a tangent here. So everybody was hating on Anthony Hopkins, Sir Anthony Hopkins, I might add, for winning. Okay. But they're like, Chadwick Boseman should have won. He shouldn't have lost. He didn't lose anything. He was still nominated for Best Actor. It is the fault of the Academy for placing that in such high regard, moving it to the end of the show, and betting on Chadwick to win. All right? If they wanted to know, they should have looked in the fucking envelope. They should not have hedged their bets on that. They made the mistake. All them. And now, I mean, you got poor, sweet, now the oldest. Congratulations, Mr. Hopkins, by the way. You are a living legend. He's just like decrepit and like, hey guys, thank you for my award. And he
You are a legend, Mr. Decrepit.
No, but he's an old cat. He was doing his acceptance speech from wherever he was. And he from Wales. And he was like, hey guys, I want it first. Because I'm sure his publicist is like, you need to say something about Chadwick Boseman. But I doubt it. He's always very cordial, very nice. He said his thing. He's also like, I didn't think I was going to win anyway. But why should he have to take up arms for himself because he won an award in acting?
That's where, because we had to kind of preface that you made the mistake. The mistake might have been insinuating in any way, shape, or form that somebody was predestined to win an award.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I am not here to say that Chadwick Boseman didn't deserve the award. I have not seen that film yet. I will. But I also know stiff competition. Anthony Hopkins is a fantastic actor. But for them to be like, okay, you can tell, they thought that was going to happen. Moving into later in the ceremony and the whole thing. Yeah, if you're going to do it, like I said, look in the envelope. Make sure that you're not a clown. They were clowns. And it's very frustrating for people to be like, Anthony Hopkins shouldn't have won. Okay, you don't vote for the Academy.
Right.
Stupid.
I think it's funny that he's getting grilled for not being there to make a speech. The 80-year-old man in the middle of a pandemic is getting roasted for not being there.
Not only, oh my God, first off, one of the best actors we have is living. He just broke records, for being 150 years old and winning an acting Oscar. And then he's very cordial, says all the right things, and people were like, you didn't fucking come to the awards. I'm 150 years old.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so frustrating.
Let's talk about the best part. Glenn
butt.
Close out here doing the butt.
I'm all about
Out here getting it. And you want to talk about not decrepit, but she's up there.
I didn't mean
Those hips
Anthony
shouldn't be
Hopkins
moving
isn't
like that.
decrepit. He's the man. But I just mean he is, 85 or whatever it was. But yeah, Glenn Close killed it. I did not think she was going to do that.
Yeah, that whole like trivia, like song trivia thing felt kind of like out of place.
It also felt
was fun.
staged.
It was probably staged.
That part, I think the question and answer portion was staged because she read that off like, oh, I definitely like hip hop. You know, but I think the actual dancing part might have been like, you know what, F it, go for it. But yeah, the question and answer part, I was like, I really love the Sugar Hill Gang. You know, like,
Who was the host doing that? I was trying to figure that out.
is he wasn't the Get Out cat, was he?
That's who it was. He was the security guard. That has to be him, right?
I think.
Very, very funny, charismatic guy. But I was trying to figure out who that was. Anyway, that part let me laugh out loud.
Oh yeah, and I didn't watch. This is the first time I haven't watched the Oscars. Obviously, I mean nobody else watched them in a decade. So when you messaged me about Glenn Close, getting weird on TV, I was like, all right, there we go, go Queen.
All right. So what else we got?
I got one more trailer I just watched. I don't know, is it Saw Presents or what, or is it just Spiral?
It's from the Book of Saw.
Oh, the Book of Saw. So wait, now that he's been dead for 15 years, he's writing books. Okay, good deal.
He's like Tupac.
Feel me, feel me, die. I wrote this song a long time ago. So
The rest of the cast is just going to be Tupac.
feel me. I'm fine with it. But so the Book of Saw, Spiral. So is Spiral's a chapter. This is nonsense already. That being said, looks pretty good.
Very interesting.
So it's supposed to be a sequel, right? Or an offshoot in the same universe as, were we at 10 or 11? I think the 3D one was 10, wasn't it?
The 3D one was 7, I thought. I think this is the 8th one. Because they made 6 Saws, and then... No, this is the 9th one.
Oh, okay, yeah.
There were
I think
6
the
Saws,
next one's
3D,
10.
and then they made that one like...
Yeah, which was
6 or 7 years
with
ago, which was
laser,
god-awful.
Yeah, laser head thing, yeah.
Anyway.
So, the trailer didn't look bad. I had one problem. Like, I'm down for another Saw movie. That's fine. I'm down with a Chris Rock Saw movie. I am not down with the fact that Samuel Jackson's his dad. They're like 5 years apart, aren't they? They're real. Suspension of disbelief. We got a whole bunch of crazy traps. I'm here for it. People are getting chopped into hamburger. Okay, don't ask me to. Don't ask me that. Don't. Sam Jackson's got a son the same age as Chris Rock. I don't know. That's the hardest part.
It's a bridge too far.
It's a bridge too far.
It's spiraling out of control.
Well done.
But very nice.
I don't know how well I'm going to be able to take Chris Rock in a quote-unquote dramatic role. I've never seen him in anything that wasn't comedy.
I think it would have been a lot more dramatic, and we haven't even seen the movie yet, if he didn't have that goofy-ass looking goatee. He doesn't have a full goatee. He's just got the underbridge thing, and it looks goofy. Like, we're trying to take him serious. People are getting strung up. His dad had him when he was 5. It's a joke from a couple minutes ago, Rick. You look like you missed it. And he's got that under thing. He looks like a 1960s, gothic mansion bad guy.
You know what he should have went with? Neckbeard.
For those of you keeping track on the
Mark that one on your bingo
on the
card.
bingo card, yeah, Neckbeard has been out there. But what do you think about Spiral?
Anytime there's a new horror film that comes out, it always intrigues me. But I do think that this might be a wave of people trying to migrate over, and I hope it's not just chasing the success of like a comedian to horror. Jordan Peele had great success with it, and even Sandler had a great success with moving from a series of very, very goofball-esque comedies to Uncut Gems, where he really delivered in a role that nobody expected.
No.
So we'll see. and it's interesting, but I can't help but worry that it might just be getting started, where you have a bunch of director or comedians doing the horror thing, you know, for better or for worse. Only do the movie. I like what Jordan Peele did because it was an original story. You know, if Chris Rock comes in and he does this well, good for him, but don't just reboot every horror franchise that's out there for the sake of having a comedian move over and do it. So, I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, I heard Jerry Seinfeld was doing The Book of Pinhead. Did you hear that one?
To your point, though, I mean, it's not too far-fetched to think that if you go down that road, I mean...
First off,
right.
If Jerry Seinfeld directs, writes a horror movie about just killing people, I'm down. Because I think he could kill people. He's got that, like, look in his eyes. He could do it. I mean, he's got everything in the world. He needs to do something else. He's bored. He's a murderer. That's the movie. Write it.
Okay.
Nobody would ever see it coming.
Nobody would ever see it coming. Rick, do you have anything for the dailies?
No.
Nothing?
We're all good?
I don't.
No,
I'm not pulling weight this episode.
no, I mean, no raincoat wearing bears taking out the greatest film of all time.
So yeah, we recently have a new king atop the Rotten Tomatoes mountain. Paddington 2 has finally unseated the wildly overrated Citizen Kane because of a newly found 80-year-old review.
You said two things there that just make this fucking moot. All right, number one, you said Rotten Tomatoes. I don't care.
That mountain is not
Yeah.
one to die on.
I mean, I like what they do, but it's for the layperson, you know. It shows the critic reviews, and that's why Citizen Kane has been where it's been for all these years, because everybody knows what the deal is. But, I don't know. People, shout out to Kyle Nielsen, who listens. He puts a lot of stock in Rotten Tomatoes. Me and him have had this conversation before. It's okay. It's a good idea to look at it and get a general consensus, but don't put all your eggs in that basket. The other thing you said was an 80-year-old review. First off, I didn't think they used a lot of them because when that movie came out, Hearst was trying to shut it down with his vast empire of newspapers. Every review was bad. So now you're going to take one that was probably written by Hearst in a pseudonym or a pen name?
No, they recently released the name of the guy. It was Pat Inkton.
He was very hairy.
Yes, Pat Inkton. Was the one
Pat
that dropped this
Inkton.
review.
Yeah, everybody loves that guy. All right, I will say this. Paddington is spectacular. The first one. I've waited to see 2 because of the hype. Like everybody, like when that movie came out, I remember everybody on Facebook and all social media saying, this is the best movie ever made. And I was like, okay, that's pretty wild. Like that's literally, not hyperbole. Everybody is like, best movie ever made. I love that a happy movie is getting it. Like, I love that an upbeat, family-friendly movie is getting a lot of attention like that, and the people universally agree that it's good. But it's just, at this point, it's just Americana. You know, we like baseball, hot dogs, and Citizen Kane is the number 1 movie of all time. These are things that we just know, right? And you're going to tell me what 2020... It's just bleeding over into 2021 because it's a fucking shit show. And we're just going to say, you know what is? You know what's the greatest movie in America now? The greatest American film ever made. It's a movie with it's a bear, talking bear, very cute. It's going to beat Orson Welles.
I mean, if you're giving me 2 options, one, to watch a movie about a furry, happy bear, or a movie in black and white about a sled.
The movie is not about a sled.
Spoiler.
Oh, no kidding. Spoiler alert for Citizen
If you guys
Kane.
haven't seen the 1856 Citizen Kane,
This might be Rick's last episode. I'm not for sure. I know that, he's got his very large, very, very big fan base, but that is blasphemous.
well, you just said Rotten Tomatoes wasn't, God speaks, so...
Well, here's the thing. Rotten Tomatoes is not sponsoring our show. What if I'm going to get like a death threat and it's just going to be one of the, it's going to be like a rotten written out. Like what was the thing when you see like the splatter on it?
Yeah.
Yeah. But most of the movies I really like got a splatter on there anyway.
That's a great point. Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of if I see a splatter, I'm more apt to watch the movie.
I'm fairly certain that's why Keith Bowen failed me. Was because I fell asleep during that boring movie.
There's your bingo card right there,
There's another one.
Mr. Bowen failing Rick.
Mr. Bowen failing Rick. All right, here is Citizen Kane my favorite movie? No, it's up there. It's one of my favorites. But I don't know. It's not that I don't like change, but also it's just one of the things you know in your bones. It's just a question you can get asked anybody right now on Jeopardy.
In my bones.
Yeah, anybody right now on Jeopardy, they'll ask what is the number one vote, like the greatest movie of all time.
But they'll drop AFI, not Rotten Tomatoes, though.
Exactly, because
it's
nobody
not
gives
right.
a damn about Rotten Tomatoes score. But AFI, that's why the skewed articles are what pissed me off. I'm happy for Paddington 2. I am actually. I just rebought the original Paddington because it's great. It's a feel good. I would give that an almost perfect score. It would not be perfect, but I would give it an almost perfect score. And I've heard 2 is spectacular. It's a great movie. But let's be honest. It's not Citizen Kane.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I have not seen Paddington 2 either, so I'm kind of
Let's watch
talking out of line, I guess.
And I know I am too. I'm venting my frustration for something that, like, if you're making end of the world bingo, this is on there. Like you've got the pandemic, you've got all kinds of wild shit that we've covered here. And you know what the winning spot was? A movie about a talking bear takes over Citizen Kane for the greatest movie of all time.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I'll watch it. It's made my list now, so it wasn't on my radar before. But I got to see what all the hubbub's about, and if it's literally like an hour and a half, 2 hours of Little Bear, then I'm probably going to be a little pissed off and come back with more
Please
to say.
don't respect Little Bear.
Little Bear, dude.
Wait, did you watch the first one?
Yeah, dude, and it was good, but even that one, I don't understand.
Well, I mean,
maybe I'm just a cynic.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, like, I don't know why you'd like it. It's not like Paddington takes a switchblade to some poor young woman in the back of a cab. But
No, but
what is the deal with talking bears?
It's a good movie. I just, I don't know if it's saying something about Paddington or if it's saying something about Rotten Tomatoes is the question. Like, what is that score saying? And that's really the question. I'll watch it and I'll make my official call, I guess. But I imagine it's saying something about Rotten Tomatoes.
It absolutely is because, like I said, over the past 2 years since it's been out, 2-3 years, like everybody's heard that it's great. You don't need to dethrone Citizen Kane. It sounds like it's the same kind of push for Snyder Cut and all these things. Like people are just taking wild swings, and because all this stuff is on the internet, get a handful of people behind you, you can alter some numbers.
I would even go as far to say there shouldn't be a whole lot of 100%. When you're talking about people's opinions, this isn't like a definitive list. This is just like, you gotta. I just that's something that kind of confuses me, and I don't know why you would have a movie with 100. I mean, you'd at least have somebody out there go and try to tank that and influence it a little bit, you would think.
Somebody that hates bears.
Right.
Perhaps.
So somebody that just wants to mess with the internet, and I don't understand. So maybe I just don't.
Are you alluding to the fact that Russia really loves Paddington 2?
Russia kicked Citizen Kane out of the number one
Yeah,
spot.
it's collusion, man. This is collusion.
I'm just waiting for the sequel from Paddington with Love.
Isn't it the Soviet bear? Isn't that a thing?
Yeah. Oh, if in the next one, Paddington's not Ben Whishaw. It's just. I'm trying to think of a very famous
Ivan Drago.
Yeah. Paddington 3.
If he
the
dies,
Motherland.
he dies.
If he dies, he dies. We have went entirely too long on Paddington.
So speaking of throwdown, drag out brawls,
Oh my gosh.
what do we got? You got Mortal Kombat this week, yeah?
Yeah, we're here. I know. I'm ruined from the barbecue we just had, and the entire conversation about bears and Orson Welles they just taxed me down. We're here. Mortal Kombat. We're gonna review it. If you guys are still here, I'm really happy. Fuck. All right. Mortal Kombat was this is the second week it's been out, right?
Yeah.
We're recording it, and we saw it relatively close. You saw it opening day, didn't you?
I did.
I saw it the day after. Rick, you saw it.
I started it on Friday. I finished it Saturday. So opening weekend.
It's not a good sign that you had to watch it over 2 days, but we'll get to that. Right off the top, what would you think? Recommend, not recommend. What do you got, Rick? Can't even. You need to get one of these El Segundos.
I would lean towards not recommend. It's right there on the fine line. I maybe would watch it again. The action was cool because, it's more about the fighting and the action than it is the story and all that. But I just thought the story was bloated and dumb, and some of the writing was ridiculous. Now, we are talking about a fantasy movie about guys that can freeze other people fighting Lightning Man and all this shit. But there were so many things in the movie where I'm like, why? Why this? Why that? Like, some of it didn't make sense. I'm right there on that line. I would lean to not recommend.
All right.
I hear you on a lot of your points. I would recommend this movie, and I went back to I thought a lot about our Godzilla and Kong review, and a lot of the points that you made, I felt the same way about. You're right. The story was, it was nonsensical at times. There were things that happened throughout this movie that really, they didn't add up, and there was hokey delivery, almost lovably though at times, I feel. But a lot of what we are talking about here, Zilla and Kong did the same thing for me.
Like, you're saying this because your boy lost.
No, it's not even. But we all know that story was written out poorly. It was not about. It was about the fights. But to this movie's credit, we got a lot, and there was more characters, more players, but we got a lot more of what we went in there for. It wasn't Titans throwing down, but it was a lot of ass kicking going on. And for Mortal Kombat fans, they really do deliver on those gory moments that you're looking for. It's the first time in the franchise's history that they've done that cinematically. They had to pull some punches, if you will, in the original movies because they were driven at the. It's funny like how the audience has grown, and they're sort of just like, all right, well, we know our audience is now in their 20s and 30s and 40s, and it's just time for us to kind of evolve this franchise from this younger crowd to the older crowd who's going to appreciate. If you can play the games, you're a fan of the games, embrace it, and they did. So I do recommend this movie. It's by no means you're not going to go in there and be blown away by the writing. There are a couple good performances that really do steal the show, I think. One in particular we'll talk about. But yeah, I'd give it a recommend. How about you, Scott?
I am blown away because I'm going to just mirror what you said. That the Rick is the one who's against this more than we are. The softest recommend I could anytime hang out. Just if you want to, yeah. It was fun. My pops was in town. We went and saw it, told him I had some homework to do for the cast, and I tried to make it look real serious, but the whole time it was fun. It's no Paddington 2, it's not that, but it was very popcorn fun. Like you said, the story makes no fucking sense. I will not say that there were good performances because there were not. There was one guy that needs to get back surgery because he was holding the whole team on his back. But apart from that,
well, I'll defend that just real quick because it's not in depth or anything, but it's not just like line delivery. But I thought that as far as their physical performances, they did a good job. Everything was believable when it came to the fights, and they did a great job
choreography wise,
and they delivered.
Every person who was kicking and punching, fine. Our main character couldn't act his way out of a paper bag.
That was rough.
Yeah, it was real bad. That's what I mean.
I'm with you there.
So this, I'm gonna say soft recommend from the group because, Mortal Kombat, finish him, get over here. From this point on, we're gonna have a spoiler discussion. So if you haven't seen it yet, go run out to your nearest theater and check out Mortal Kombat, or if you're a bum, check it out on was it HBO Max?
Why are you asking me, the bum?
If you started it one day and finished it the next day.
Oh man, it is HBO Max, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So after this moment, spoiler. So, which one of you can explain to me what happened in this movie? Like bare bones.
Top to bottom.
No, okay, I get the. Okay,
It's gonna have to be him because
it's got to be him.
As you are.
So they had to win 10, right? You got the good guys and the bad guys. It wasn't like 10 in a row, was it?
I don't think so. And honestly,
I think that was just kind of glanced over. Like it sounds like Earthworld, which come on, guys.
Earthrealm.
Earthworld, Earthworm. This is terrible. Like just say Zone 3 or something.
This is where I think a lot of like, I mean, if you're not a fan of the games, like there's a lot of like things you're going to be removed from. Like there's a lot of nostalgia and a lot of those different things that were in this movie that are hokey, but sort of deliver to the hokiness of the series. Because it doesn't take it takes itself seriously. Well, it doesn't. It's like always over the top, I guess. Like the fatalities are always over the top. The acting's always over the top. It's just it's a very embellished like production.
So not 10 in a row then?
I don't know if it's in a row.
No, you just had to win 10, right?
But you were talking about Earthrealm and like that's,
no, I know, I'm fucking with you.
So,
but it's
What's
just
the
got to be
other
10,
side
right?
Called? It's Outworld or something. The other side.
The what?
The upside down.
The upside down. The other place.
yeah.
Okay, but
Bad guy.
okay, the one that's led by Lau from
Shang Tsung, man, you pointed it out that it was. I'm good with calculation.
Seriously, the whole movie. I know we're not even remotely close to connecting the dots here, but I'm sitting there in the movie going, "Who is Shang Tsung?" The whole time, like I'm enjoying it. I think this is fun, right? They're cracking jokes, they're doing it, but every time he came on, I'm like, this guy looks like a really weathered version of a dude I've seen 100 times. Who is it? When I looked, as soon as the credits rolled, I got an IMDb. It's Lau from The Dark Knight, and with a really bad wig. Oh man, so bad. But as soon as I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. But okay, here's my thing. They got what? They got to win 10, right? The Outworlders and the Earther guys got to win 10.
The Earthies.
Yeah, the Earthies. How often is a Mortal Kombat tournament?
And maybe they didn't put a finger on it. They just kind of like throughout history, they popped up, and they didn't. That was one thing that I do wish we would have gotten. And since that they've already talked about future productions here, obviously that's like I think number 2 is the director was already saying like that's where he wanted the tournament to be, but I was wanting the tournament and we didn't really get that. We got like what they tried to make we'll give them a tournament thing, and I didn't really like that. But as far as how often they happen, I don't know. Like the ins and outs of like all the narrative really didn't bug me as I was watching. The fights were not frequent. They didn't really waste a whole lot of time between throwdowns, even if they were small.
I thought the best part of the movie was the first 15 minutes.
Just lob it up there for me, Rick, because amen. If we're going sequentially, starting at the old Japanese backdrop
or whatever.
So good.
It was awesome.
That was my favorite part, and it never got better than that, but it was really, really well done. When it introduces Scorpion, what's his name?
Yes. Hanzo.
Hattori Hanzo. Yeah, when it it's not Hattori Hanzo. When it introduces him, everything was great. Like, also, they never really said anything about how Sub-Zero has always been Sub-Zero. Like, Mortal Kombat. Here's the thing, like, the overarching themes. Mortals, right? Mortal Kombat. Like, that was the thing, when I watched the old ones, everybody was just a regular dude, right? For the most part, until they got their powers. Sub-Zero is 800 years old, right? And he shoots ice from his hands. He's not immortal. He's always coming back. Yeah. It's not Mortal Kombat. It's mortals versus demons.
That was one of the things, too, I really wanted to see was, like, Sub-Zero's story, according to this new branch of movies. But maybe we'll get it. I don't know, but it's probably
actor came out and said he wants to do a prequel.
He also said he wanted. He said he wanted to do like 4 or 5 other movies. So he's going to be a
this thing until the very end.
Smart. He did a great job as Sub-Zero. He didn't have to deliver a lot of lines, but he was very ominous.
Yeah,
and I thought he did a great job in all of the fights. I mean, choreographed or not, you do have to deliver as an actor, and he did a great job in all of his combat scenes. And I said before on the cast that Sub-Zero is kind of my favorite character to play in the game, and I was thrilled to see the effects work they did with the ice. It looked incredible. And a scene that I think will be overlooked and underrated is Sub-Zero walking down the street, lifting the ice, and throwing it. That was outstanding.
That was really good. That was really good.
When everything kind of froze over and it started snowing, even you knew he was coming, and that was ominous. And like there was nobody there to stop him. And that was the thing. You had like this UFC guy, and I guess we'll talk about him soon, but it was very, very doomsday-ish, and I loved the way they did that. So
I'll say it was pretty heartbreaking to see Hanzo's wife and son frozen. That was pretty heavy.
It's pretty heavy.
And then,
it's pretty cold, if you ask me.
He's got that badass scene where he ends up picking up the chain and, wiping the minions out.
Yeah.
Before he fights.
A fucking gardening trowel,
right.
Which I thought was pretty wild.
He was out here.
But as soon as you see that, even you kind of already, I got the vibes, the Scorpion vibes early from him, but when you see that, there's like, it's writing on the wall. This guy's about to go off. But we didn't get a whole lot of him. And at the end, we got a really great fight sequence between Sub-Zero and Scorpion. But we didn't get a whole lot of Scorpion, and I was kind of hoping for a little bit more.
We got a hackney, weird way of just like bringing him back from hell. I was very confused about that.
I wish they would have, if they would have just sort of scrapped Homeboy and focused on his journey back from hell, and it wasn't about like so we don't have to talk about this in order, but when our boy when he unlocks his power, and he looks like his upper half kind of almost looks like Aquaman.
It was so
I didn't like it at all. He just had like this weird, it was almost like a penance type thing, like feel the pain, all this stuff. And his family was his thing. Like he had to defend this family, and you got to. But I didn't really ever buy his thing, and I thought Goro would have had that guy for lunch.
That's my thing. Like his power is he gets it, so he can't beat the guy in the cage.
No,
average Joe in the cage, and he gets like a ballistic vest, and now all of a sudden he wrecks Goro.
I put it to words. His what is special power is rope-a-dope.
They had a word for it.
Yeah, rope-a-dope
or something. I don't know.
No, it was literally just Muhammad Ali's rope-a-dope. He's like, beat the shit out of me until you're tired. Terrible. And I know you've seen it. I'm just gonna leave you out of this because I bet you haven't seen Bram Stoker's Dracula. The beginning where he's wearing that god awful red suit.
Yeah.
That's what he was wearing. I was like, why are you wearing a creepy Dracula shirt and getting your ass beat? So dumb. Everybody gets laser eyes and special arms, and he's like, look at my shirt. It's my special power.
Yeah. And he got the like...
Cole's his name.
Like police batons with blades attached to them or whatever.
Yeah.
He got those, but still.
Nobody wants those either.
Goro should have pulled his head off in 2 minutes.
They did Goro dirty. There's
a lot of characters in this dirty.
Well, the last 20 minutes where everybody gets done dirty. The movie.
Yeah.
All right. We get introduced to our main character. Cole something.
Yeah, Cole. He's a UFC fighter, an underground fighter.
Who's like doing every Rocky movie. Like he's
just take a ass whipping and come back from it.
I used to be really good, but now I'm not good. No, it's terrible. And who shows up? But Jax, which I think they did Jax really bad in the marketing because they show you everything. I mean, they show his arms getting ripped off, and then they show him with his arms at the end of the trailer. I'm like, all right,
I can't. The internet photoshopped Steve Harvey's face onto him, and I cannot unsee it now.
Oh, man.
He played Jax real well. I liked him a lot.
I liked him.
And the scene, I guess it's just kind of where you're coming from, because, everybody knew Jax was going to lose his arms. When he didn't have metal arms, it was like, okay, well, something's going to happen to Jax. And when he got in a fight with Sub-Zero, even if it would have been cool to be surprised by that, but it was still an awesome fight sequence, and that was a really gross shattering of arms.
So logistically, I guess we already went over Homeboy's tactical vest and weird police batons, but if say your power is set in stone, right? Like if you start training right now, you get a laser eye and Rick gets an iron penis or whatever. So
I'm getting the better end of this deal.
if Jax's power was set in stone as metal arms, what if he trained and then like got it naturally? Would his other arms just fall off? Like I was laughing at I was just sitting here at home thinking like, ah! And his arms just fall off to get new arms? Because they went through a middle part which was super creepy with the little bionic arms.
That's my thing. Like, why did they give him the baby arms?
Right? It made no sense. Now his powers were just making up for the fact that he'd been emasculated. So what would his real powers have been? Because it wouldn't have been metal arms.
Maybe.
Well, maybe it would have been over. I don't know. It's hard. It's hard telling, but I mean, it was really just
he just got buffered. Like he just turned into Brock Lesnar. Let's just say.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt like if you want to like peel it apart, I mean, I think it was just like it was the metaphor for inner strength and all that stuff. But it was, I mean, yes, it's gonna appear hokey when a guy's getting metal arms, and they're not gonna explain that. I guess if they did explain it, then it would be even more ridiculous. But
also, it would have been great if like he's transforming and you think it's gonna be the arms, and he gets like a peg leg or something. What's going on here? I thought it was gonna be arms.
Fatality.
Well, I think one of the highlights of the film too. We talk about like the best. The first 7 minutes were really good, but when Kano gets introduced, the scene with Sonya, and I mean Cole was there, but
Sonya was terrible.
I guess basically how he arrives, Jax intercepts him. He notices his dragon tattoo at the fight. It's kind of like the marker to show that you've been like selected,
chosen, yeah.
And the idea is like if for all these guys that are in Outworld, like Sub-Zero, Shang Tsung, all these guys trying to take over and win the tournament, they're trying to kill all these dudes with the tattoo, right? So they know Homeboy's got it, and so when all that ice is flying down the street, they nab him up. Jax nabs up Cole and his family and takes off with them in the car, and ultimately leads to that fight where he loses his arms, but then he gets sent on his little mission to figure out kind of like what the hell's going on. And then Jax sends him to Sonya because he's not really 100% buying the fact that this is real. Like,
would you?
I have a tattoo, right? I just happen to have a dragon. But, he shows it like Jax has the same mark and he's like, that's impossible. And, it's.
What did they initially say? He thought it was a birthmark?
Yeah. It looks like a.
Oh, yeah? The perfectly drawn dragon tattoo is your birthmark?
Oh, yeah.
I want one of those.
To your point, I was just thinking about this earlier about how everybody should be losing their freaking minds about, centaur people and Iceman and Lightning Person. His wife and son, completely cool with it. I mean, they're a little scared, but they're just like, there's Pony Man with the 4 arms and the ponytail. All right, we'll get out of here, Jet. You do your thing, player. Like, Cole, go take care of him. They are nonplussed by the whole thing. They're just like, this is weird. They should be losing their minds because he comes back through a portal and they're just like, Dad, honey. And he's just like, I'm back. I'm staying here. And then like 5 minutes later, Goro shows up to kill him and he's like, I got to do this. And they're like, go do your thing, Dad and honey. And their home is getting obliterated, left or wherever they're hiding out, right? And she's just like, she should be like, what the fuck is this? Like, she should be losing her mind, and the kid should just be pissing on everything, right? Don't care. They know they're in a Mortal Kombat movie.
Sure.
They are not acting.
Yeah, well, and fair enough. I think that all these things, like for me, if going into this, I expected like one thing. And I guess, I was all in on these characters being in like full Mortal Kombat mode from these games, and all this stuff. It's like you're right, but I didn't like the way that fight went. But that's one out of many too. Like I liked most of the fights, like the fight with Reptile. That was a lot of fun.
It was fun.
I mean, he's creeping around invisible, like Kano gets loose, and it's like 3-on-1, and I loved that whole thing. And I imagine the actor you're talking about who has back issues now. That's is our boy Kano. Like he delivered extremely well, and there's no denying that he was the star of the show. He stole it. Josh Lawson.
Yeah, I read the article about that earlier. That literally, I stole from about the back issues. I thought that was really funny. If they could have found somebody half as charismatic as that guy to play our lead, we would have had a lot better movie. That's it. Plain and simple. The
It
guy
almost
was
felt
bread
like,
and butter.
But it also, I mean, honestly, it did feel like they hired a writer for Kano. Like
They had to have.
There was nowhere near the level of, and I know that he's the sarcastic guy, but they didn't do hardly any of that with any of the other characters to make you kind of like chuckle or anything. But
there was like 20 minutes of him just bebopping and scatting, and everybody was like cracking jokes. Like they're just listening to him
just walk across the
berate
desert.
them. Yeah. And I was like, oh, nobody else has said anything for a long time. and I enjoyed it, but I mean, also, I was like, isn't Kano a bad guy? Like I was thinking to myself, I was like, it's going to be weird if you're putting all your eggs into the bad guy basket and nobody likes the good guys. And sure as shit, Kano switches sides. I'm like, oh, well, they don't really have any likable good guys anymore.
I mean, he's just a gun for hire, and I thought that was. I really wanted to know more about. I mean, and I know they have history. Like it's when he walks up to the wall there and has his interaction.
Yeah.
And with
Cabal.
Thank you. And yeah, I would love to see that story about what went down in their
Has
their
Cabal
version.
always been like a sarcastic guy?
He's kind of got that jokester side to him.
Okay,
I think. I mean,
been a while since I played Mortal Kombat, so
yeah, not nearly as much as Kano.
okay.
So, like you said, the whole thing is they're getting ready. The tournament is approaching. Shang Tsung is literally just trying to kill everybody who poses him a threat before that. That's the story. And we get, Sub-Zero is just going around murking everybody. You got, Jax's arms are ripped off. They're all in, Raiden's, temple, right? Mm-hmm. Which, wasn't Raiden a dick?
In this movie?
Yeah.
I wanted more Raiden fight.
I wanted more
sucked.
Raiden.
Which I thought would have been fair because the rule was the gods can't interfere, right?
Right.
Well, I mean, I guess Shang Tsung is because Shang Tsung couldn't interfere, and once he started murking Kung Lao, which was my guy, that should have been his moment, where he should have stepped in. He's just watching them all getting their asses beat.
But he had he's supposed to be everybody's mentor, right? But he's just screaming at everybody. He's like, you suck, you're dumb, you'll never amount to anything. Ride the lightning bolt off. He didn't do anything. I don't remember. I need to rewatch the originals. I know I shouldn't, but I need to rewatch them because I remember at least old Highlander, at least cracking jokes and being kind of funny. This Raiden is stone cold, wax on, wax off, get to work.
Yeah. Yeah, I really wanted more, because Raiden's power is one of the most fun to watch. Shooting that lightning across and just having a blast with that would have been a good time in the theater. And I suppose there's more. I can't imagine this isn't the last we've seen of this group, but
I think they greenlit the second one today before we got together.
Yeah. Well, it wouldn't surprise me because this thing made more money. I think I read in 3 days, the opening weekend, than Godzilla versus Kong did in a week. And that says a lot in COVID times. People are getting a little bit more comfortable getting back to theaters, I think. And
there was a lot of people in my theater. I was really surprised.
Yeah.
Also, complete side note, there was a lot of people in that Demon Slayer movie, that anime joint that just came out. I haven't the foggiest idea what it is because I'm 31. But apparently a lot of people were there to see it, all week at the theater right down by me. So it is a good sign. People are getting back into the theater. I'm all for it. Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit. I mean, the story it kind of goes without saying. I think most people have gotten this impression that the story is flimsy and it's really not. It's not what this movie. You don't go to this movie for that. If you're a fan of the game franchise, you will. I think they casted very well for most of the characters. I thought they did a good job, at least likenesses. I think that they did a good job with pretty much every. Shang Tsung was a little bit, but for the most part, the baddies were good. Melina looked good, but I mean, Scorpion was cool, but I didn't get enough of him for me to I wish he was in the movie more. But Liu Kang, for all of his. I know you're. Go ahead.
I did not like Liu Kang.
No?
5'6", not all that shredded. I'm used to the '90s Liu Kang that they had.
But you got that bicycle kick though.
He's just kind of like a little bitch.
He was little.
he was little, but his whole thing, he was never like a Goro or he was always like a more nimble character.
I hated. I didn't like him. Again, we've talked about Shang Tsung. You need a more menacing looking character for Shang Tsung.
And the original had that. The original absolutely had that.
He looked wicked in the original.
He just looked like a plain Jane.
And to be
Good
fair,
at calculating.
that was one thing about Scorpion too, was he did look. And I know he has that sword, but I didn't like how much they leaned on that. I will say that about him. That he used his sword way more than he used his chain, and I really wanted more fire and I wanted more chain. I didn't want that. Leaning on the Japanese tradition, I did kind of think that was really neat how they did a really good job with that. But I also I was like, this is Scorpion. They did it. You got that payoff at the end with the skull, but half skull. But you didn't quite get enough of the. He's in the games. He's shooting back and forth. He's fast and he's not so slow. And I don't know. Maybe I'm asking too much, but I thought that sword was a little bit too heavy-handed for me.
I agree. So the opening with Sub-Zero and Scorpion, when they were fighting, were they still doing Mortal Kombat shit then, or it was just the warring factions?
That's, to my knowledge, that was what it was. So we don't know why he was he retaliating, or was he antagonizing? I don't know, because the Lin Kuei I know, and they weren't always the aggressor, I don't think, but either way, it was brutal.
Yeah. I'll just say what everybody else is thinking. Sub-Zero was dope.
Awesome.
Like, across the board, everything he said, I was like, yeah, I can get behind this. This is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Everything he did. Like you said, the walking down the street and just, bringing the ice up to everybody. Completely. I'd forgot about it until you mentioned it, because, he had everything he did was dope.
Yeah. Kung Lao, I think, probably had the best fatality. When Homegirl's flying down. That thing, oh my God, it was awesome. That was really that moment.
I feel like they only introduced that character just to murk her.
They did.
Exactly. It was a throwaway, yeah, but
I don't know. Kung Lao as a whole, we were just talking about how everybody gets their powers. He just got a spinning sombrero. I always thought that was kind of a ripoff. Like, your arms are connected to you, your eyes are connected to you, things that come out of you. You have to wear that hat all the time. That's got to be a nuisance. You walk into a party, what's up, ladies? What's up with this fucking hat? It's just, that's weird to me. I don't like. I would be like, okay, I'm Kung Lao. My special power is spinning hat. I don't like that at all.
I think Kung Lao kind of has that history in the game too. A lot of people kind of like, oh, fucking, I'm in Kung Lao. But you use him a lot. He's hard to beat, but he doesn't have the flashy thing. But you still, I like how they gave him that disgusting, the best. Kano, though, even though it was early on, his fatality was spot on when he takes Reptile's heart.
That was cool.
You fucking beauty. I loved that.
Yeah. I just kept thinking that it was homeboy from Wolf Creek's brother. Yeah.
He was almost there were times where I leaned over to Tristan and I was just like, he felt kind of like a little Jackman, a little Gordon Ramsay at the same time when he was cussing people out.
More Gordon Ramsay.
His appearance was the Jackman. With the rough and tumble kind of thing.
What are you talking about?
Keep going with that.
That man doesn't hold a candle to Hugh Jackman.
He has the same type of facial hair. He has the accent. You know what I'm talking about.
This is usually a Rick thing. You're trying to bait me, and it's not working.
You see what I'm talking about, though.
They don't know it.
He had this little thing going on. Excuse me, that cracked me up. He would have that fuck off. It was
yeah, he's more like homeboy from Wolf Creek meets he is a human embodiment of Dingo Dial. That's what he was. He's Dingo Dial from the Crash Bandicoot games. That's it.
Okay, well, I got the weird pseudo Jackman Gordon Ramsay thing from him, but I don't know.
Blasphemy.
He was the best character in the movie.
He was, yeah.
Maybe you could argue Sub-Zero, but yeah, I saw something. I think the director said the reason that they didn't have Johnny Cage in that movie was because they wrote most of the charisma for Kano, and they would basically be having like two Kanos almost.
Right. That makes sense.
So,
So,
but
I guess so we don't forget about it. Who's going to play Johnny Cage? I saw two, and I mean everybody thinks that Ryan Reynolds would be perfect. That's all well and good, but The Miz, the WWE wrestler, I think would actually be a pretty spectacular Johnny Cage. I mean, he's built. Obviously, he's a professional wrestler. He's a shit heel. I think it would be really good. I mean, Ryan Reynolds isn't everything. Does he really need to get to be Johnny Cage? No. Let's give The Miz a little something.
He might be a little bit too old too. That's the thing.
Yeah, it's good.
He's got to be mid-40s right now. I mean, he's got crow's feet.
They can get rid of that. Yeah.
I mean, they can. He's definitely got the personality. The personality's perfect.
For sure. Yeah.
That's a good question. I have to think on that.
So
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy for everything.
Sense, but...
No. So he's out there. Shang Tsung's trying to kill everybody so they don't have to fight, which is bitch move, right?
Totally.
And they're all attacking Raiden's temple. You have the really cool spinning sombrero kill of the flying bird lady, which was
dope.
Absolutely the best fatality. What else? Then you kill Kung Lao.
So Liu Kang's running in. He just had his fight.
Yeah.
And he's running in, and like him and who was he fighting? He was
Cabal,
fighting.
right?
Was he fighting? Yeah, he was fighting Cabal. They're just like staring at him as Kung Lao's getting his soul sucked. Where's the fireball? Where's anything? Why are you just standing
They
there?
just watched it happen.
Why are you just standing there? The writing in this movie was ridiculous.
So yeah, he does the soul suck, which everybody's just like, no. Okay, do something. Any of you. And at that point, for the last 20 minutes of the film, everybody gets murdered. I thought this was a balls move because you kill everybody on the opposing team. They're like, now they'll know who you killed everybody. They take out Goro, they take out Cabal, they take out
Alina.
Literally,
She dies, right?
Yeah, Sonya gets her with another really cool shot where he shoots the hole through her, she falls over, you can see right through it.
That was pretty cool.
That was dope.
But it was funny, they all rose up,
Yeah.
Jack's got his big arms because he was trying to move the rock off of
Yeah, and
Sonya, yeah.
That's when he got the steroids.
yeah, you were a real boy.
His baby arms, and then all of a sudden they're just killing everybody.
Yeah, they just
It was
decide
just
if they're gonna do that to us, we're gonna do it to them. And
I did, but that was one of the things that really wasn't. I didn't like Cole all of a sudden being like, "Here's what we're gonna do, gang." I was like, this dude needs to know his place.
he's acting like Freddy from Scooby Doo, and he doesn't have Freddy's swagger.
Yeah,
He's all of a sudden got this weird, creepy shirt and some batarangs or some what are those things? But
batons or whatever the hell.
batons and nobody's gonna listen to you.
It was. I did not like that choice at all. I thought that he should just sort of fall in line and earn his stripes. But just
Shouldn't he just listen to Raiden?
Raiden or even Liu
I
Kang?
would probably be talking shit though if I just took out Goro with a couple of police.
First off,
Speaking of
Goro was built up in the original film, right? He was the big bad in that. If I remember
even
correctly.
in the OG games, he was an animal, hard to beat.
Yeah, and they're just kill him. He showed up and you're like, oh, dude, fucking Goro's here, dope. And then he gets beat up by creepy shirt baton guy.
He cuts his guts and stuff. I didn't. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was a weird play. I mean, I don't know. I don't know why you really needed a new character for this to work. I mean, if you subtracted him and just had these guys understand, okay, we're in trouble. Shang Tsung's trying to cheat. We have to survive this onslaught. And his just training montages and stuff, him getting his ass beat, those things didn't last long enough to really have an impact. He really did just sort of bog the movie down. And
that was the thing. Even when he shows up to the temple, he's getting his ass beat again. Sonya has to help him out, right? You just took out Goro, right?
I think it was before, right?
Was it before? Because you're okay, now he's getting his he's posturing, he's doing his thing. He's gonna be the good guy now, right? He's gonna be the hero everybody wants. Then he gets his ass beat again.
Melina's kicking his ass, right?
Yeah, and then Sonya takes care of it. I don't know.
He was, yeah. And I think he's kind of one of the sources of a lot of the problems with the movie. So, but
Hope he's not listening. We really went to town on this guy.
He was awful.
The writing itself wasn't enough to get. So you have to have badass characters to compensate. So that's sort of the promise when you're going into Mortal Kombat. You're getting badass characters because, I mean, not that you couldn't write a good one, but I don't know. Personally, I can kind of forgive that because I'm there to watch people get chopped up and beat the shit out of them. But they just didn't. Yeah, you had way too much focus on a guy that was scrumming around. And at first, honestly, when I saw him, I had no idea who he was. And the fact that he was like connected to Scorpion, I'm like, this is not. Just bring Scorpion into this movie and let Scorpion go ham. And here's one thing I want to make mention of. Did you guys not, when Liu Kang first shows up, Liu Kang Skywalker, he walks in front of the sun and he's in a silhouette. He's coming over the sand dune or whatever. And I was like,
He's built like Mark Hamill, too.
Yeah, like 77 Hamill.
he was just going to Toshi Station and he ran into these.
Oh
fucking
my
bombs.
gosh.
I want to pick up some power converters for Raiden.
You alluded to it. So our hero, I say that just because I have to, is like Scorpion's great grandson or some shit. Like he's the last of the bloodline.
Pretty much.
That's it?
He's the last.
And this whole time, if I'm not mistaken, Scorpion's in hell.
Yes. And I
thought he was the baby the whole time. He wasn't the baby.
He made mention of that. Raiden talked about how he took the baby, but it wasn't him.
It was like his great.
All
right.
But the thing is, like, that's Scorpion's whole bag is like he comes back from hell, and that's why he's got all that fire and shit. He's just a tormented soul. And you have this guy who's just sort of like semi-pro MMA under like Fight Club shit, and he just wasn't a replacement for Scorpion. If you would have just taken this movie and gone, like I said, Earthrealm versus Outworld, and just said Scorpion's in this movie too. Scorpion's not a good guy, really, but you could still have that fight going on where they're trying to settle the score. Like I guess like Sub-Zero's whole MO is he's just trying to wipe out the bloodline, maybe. Maybe that's why he's even giving a shit about what Shang Tsung's doing.
Because there was like a prophecy, right? That something with Scorpion's blood, Homeboy is going to emerge, and that's how they were going to win their 10th Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
So I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Because it's not very well told. But that's why they wanted to get rid of that bloodline, which apparently he knew that 500 years ago when he killed Scorpion, which that's a long way to go.
It is.
Killing babies. Well, I guess he forgot about the baby. But I digress. After they attack the temple, they literally kill everybody in the opposing team but Shang Tsung and Sub-Zero, right? And then they get the hell out of Dodge.
Right.
And they had the final battle in the ice cage.
Homeboy Cole's about to go through, and Shang Tsung goes, stop him, right? And so he grabs him, or something like he knocks him out of the way. Like he doesn't let him escape. But he doesn't make it through the portal.
Yeah, he gets snagged, I think.
And then I want to talk about that last fight arena, if you will. The whole ice arena, that was dope as hell. Like he made the entire arena in ice, and I thought that was they did a great job visually with that. All the ice was very good.
Yeah.
And I think honestly all the fatalities looked really great.
I had problems with a lot of the special effects. I thought Raiden's eyes looked really, really bad.
They were jarring.
I thought Reptile looked pretty mediocre to bad.
Melina's jawline was questionable.
I guess that definitely.
But they did do a great job on the ice.
It works to your benefit when he's invisible half the time. So
Yeah.
Wasn't he just a Komodo dragon?
You're fine, dude. Why are you freaking out? He's not going to hurt you.
Yeah. I was watching that going, this fucking Komodo dragon. These
back
things
on
are
the islands
terrifying. Yeah,
again.
I'm back on the These things are terrifying. Invisible Komodo dragons, we would never stand a chance.
Thank God.
Take me out. So they're in the MMA ice cage, right?
I guess that's one of the
Yeah, the MMA ice cage. You got
Cole.
Yeah, I can't even remember his damn name. He's so forgettable. So Cole versus Sub-Zero. How does Scorpion come back
that's the
from
thing.
hell? He's like, hey, I'm back.
That would have been so cool to see him emerge.
Yeah, I'm back and I am Scorpion now. Like,
I want to give him credit. They fixed the get over here. It wasn't as good in the trailer.
No, it was a lot better in the get over here.
it's another problem I have. The entire movie he speaks Japanese or Chinese. I forget which one. But in that line, he speaks English.
He had to say it, though.
I know he had to say it, but it makes no sense.
If we would have, like, we're watching and just subtitles get over here, everybody would have been like, oh.
Okay, I understand that, but I'm just saying, it makes no sense.
I think that you
It's
can
like-
learn
it's like
Japanese really easily. Right?
I don't know. It's like the Avengers Assemble line in Endgame. It makes no sense given the context.
Yeah, but it was the best part of that whole movie. Cap over Iron Man.
I'm gonna let that one go before we have another fatality here.
Oh, finish him.
But yeah, that's a great fight. Outside of the sword, they leaned on the sword way too much in that fight. I wanted more fire. The fire and ice thing was always the deal, right? And they really didn't give it enough for me, because when he would do in the game, because it's obviously like a linear stage, but you're flying back and forth with the fire, and like if they would have done a little bit of that darting around with fire, it would have made it a little bit like more of that and more movement. It would have been a lot more of a. I think the intensity would have been a lot more fun, and they focus a lot on that up close, like actual like sword fighting combat shit, and I'm like, no. But the blood spike was great. And even though I knew it was coming, it looked great, and it was a good throwdown.
It was. For no reason. Because, I mean, we need...
Well, that's why we were there.
That... Explain to me how he came out of hell. Why was he in hell? Why was he in hell for 500 years? And what? So if...
Because he wasn't an innocent dude, but they don't talk about that at the beginning of it. It makes you feel like, oh man, poor Scorpion. But that whole tribe did stuff too.
Yeah, but you don't know that.
Well,
that's the point. As a viewer,
you don't.
Like me, I'm not a big Mortal Kombat fan. I go in going, oh, this family man is just protecting his family, and they send him to hell? Seems kind of steep. But apparently he's a bad guy.
Well, I mean,
spend 500 years in hell, you can't be that good.
He's got his demons, I guess.
Yeah, and now he's just allowed to walk the earth. Because his grandson, times 10, didn't get his ass beat for the first time in the movie. Level up.
No, I
Cole got dragged the whole time.
The whole movie.
He was like Kong out there.
How about that?
One more low blow.
So, I don't know. They whoop Sub-Zero's ass, which... What?
The old 2-on-1?
Yeah, the old 2-on-1. And like I said earlier, everybody's dead. And what Shang Tsung's like, we'll be back. So what is he saying? They're just going to resurrect everybody and do the exact same thing in part 2?
Well, and this is not really, I don't know if this is confirmed or not, but in this, I believe in the games, like there's another character. It's like Sub-Zero dies. There's like the whole story, right? And I think, Noob Saibot. You familiar with that guy? No?
No, but it's a dope name. Noob
Saibot.
Noob Saibot.
I think it's a resurrected Sub-Zero, I'm pretty sure. And so who knows? It might be a different character, but...
I mean, what? They're going to have resurrected Sub-Zero, resurrected Goro, resurrected... They killed all of the notable bad guys very quickly.
There's a lot of characters they didn't even begin to touch on, though. I mean,
the heavy hitters, for people like me who are not really into the games,
right.
are the ones that everybody knows. They took them out in such quick fashion. I'm not saying... I'll go back to my initial soft recommend. I did have fun, but when it came down to the last, 20, 25 minutes, it was a little paint by numbers. They were just mowing through these guys, which you think leave some of them for the sequel.
Yeah.
Because they're like, the fights, they were fun, but they were very quick. And all of a sudden, these people were really tough. They weren't that tough.
The Jax fatality was badass.
oh, man.
Where he with the double crush on the head of the...
Yeah.
I don't even know what the big guy's name was. You just had a big hammer. Thor?
I forget his name too. Yeah, but it just seemed like that was very rushed. The whole thing, the last half of the movie was tilted, and it shouldn't have been. It should have been, I don't know. It should have ended on a cliffhanger. This was not a cliffhanger.
No, but there's not the rules in this universe, and I know it's just it's hokey fun. It's not. They'll be back with them. Who knows who'll get resurrected and what sorcery? I mean, Shang Tsung's a sorcerer, and God knows what he's going to do. And
He's good with calculation.
so,
I'm afraid, Raiden, a simple phone call would have sufficed.
but anyway, you don't go into this movie for you got to give a lot to the story. You got to let it ride, and it's it's part of if you're a fan of the series, go into this thing with high expectations for the fights, low expectation for the connect the dots kind of stuff. But again, I was just psyched to finally see some fatalities on the big screen, and we got them. We really did. There was a lot of good ones, and hopefully with the tournament, it'll be a little bit more paced out.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully they get to it in the second one. They're like, oh, this one worked. Let's not do the tournament in the second one too.
Oh God, they can't. You can't just keep skipping the tournament part.
They're gonna kill the second round of bad guys. Like, all right, the tournament's next week, and then the movie ends.
I selfishly wanted the theme song worked in somehow.
Yeah, they did.
They teased it whenever Scorpion came up, though, a little bit.
They did the exact same, and I knew they were going to do this. They did the same thing in the first Daniel Craig James Bond at Casino Royale. The very end, he shoots somebody in the leg, he's walking up with the gun, and then you hear the and you've been waiting 2 hours this whole movie, and then they hit you with the theme, and you're like, really? That's how you're going to do it? They did the same thing in this, but it's exactly right. It's a stupid story, but I had a lot of fun with it.
And they do toast Sub-Zero. They get the toasty. He hits him with the skull in the fire, and it's like, dang, it looked cool. They did a good job with that. It's just, man, I wanted more. Yeah. Wanted more of that hellfire. So.
Sounds like we're gonna get Johnny Cage in the next one. They teased it, at the very end of the film. So
I know we're all over the place. They did kill Kano, by the way. The only person who, with the exception of Sub-Zero, who's holding this movie together. They have Sonya just fucking straight up kill him and her weird Kill Bill
garden gnome to his eye.
Oh yeah,
because he spits on the garden gnome earlier, and this is kind of like a hokey throwback. And that's how she gets her abilities at that point. Because if you kill somebody in the tournament or who has the mark, then you get their mark, and you're now chosen, but also marked and now part of the target.
Yeah, kind of
party of targets.
Yeah.
So. I mean, it was fun. I said I enjoyed what I thought it was going to get. I got. I kind of said similar stuff about our last review. So I mean, I can't really.
Before we get into the actual score, in the world of video game movies, where is it? Is it number one?
It could be.
Absolutely not.
Tell me what you think, Steven. I'm really curious what he.
It makes a case. As far as what they did to kind of reflect the game itself,
don't care about that. I mean, just in terms of quality, not to me. Well, I'm saying because you're never gonna get like the same reaction from the video game that you are from the movie.
You're not, but you do need to. If you're gonna pull from a source material like that, you do need to have some nods and do some things to at least homage. And they did a very good job executing the things that made the video game. Because if it's a video game movie and just like slap a title on it and just like tell a totally different story, I mean, fine, but I wouldn't consider that a great video game movie. That would just be maybe a good movie with a video game title.
Right.
So I know
you put all of it together. Put all of it together.
I would have to really sit down and think about that, but it definitely ranks high.
It's not even as good as the 90s movies. The 90s Mortal Kombat movies. Even the second one. The second one was abysmal, but it was better than this one.
Heil coming in with the heat. I don't think I agree with that. I will say, no matter how bad they are, I still think Resident Evil is up there for me.
That was another one that I was.
There's some good Resident Evil.
There are
Silent
very
Hill isn't bad.
Yeah, there are very bad Resident Evils too. But for me, just sitting down, put on some mindless fun because I don't think there is a good video game movie. What was the one with Adam Sandler and company that had all the video games? Yeah. How was that? How was Pixels?
It was not good.
I was really hoping for us. Rick coming in with Pixels.
I know this movie's bad. I like the Prince of Persia movie with Gyllenhaal.
Oh yeah, Gyllenhaal with my haircut.
With Ben Kingsley.
Hey, one of the bad.
It's a terrible movie, but I would watch it a million times over this again.
I would honestly say that this Mortal Kombat is up there top 3. I mean, because you don't have a lot to pull from in that video game movie world that's worth a damn.
Sit down and think about it. Yeah,
I'm glad you guys are well prepared.
Well,
I mean, as far as like that's a good question, and I have sort of thought about it a little bit just because it's obviously like looming there, but yeah, I do think it delivered on the things it needed to deliver to make it like that experience I was looking for.
What if the director of this turns around and is doing The Last of Us?
Well, I'll expect a different product, though. It's not a fight throw. It's not a silly story.
I know. I was just, you had me going with the Hugh Jackman thing earlier. I was just trying to
And I'm not
bring
saying
it
that
back.
on fire.
Yeah.
Maybe if you're looking at your source material and you're coming in at that altitude, then yeah, I mean, there's a lot of hokey stuff in those games. It doesn't make any sense. People get their heads ripped off and they're back in the fight the next round. I mean, it is death doesn't mean anything in that game, and that's the world where, like, I know that's the video game thing. Like, you don't die. There's no, like, permadeath, but it's like, it was fun. It was a fun throwdown.
Permadeath sounds like a metal band.
Yeah.
All right. I think we're just going to say the exact same things over and over again.
Sure.
It was... I need to see it again because I can see where Rick's coming from, and I can 100% see where you're coming from. Let's put a score on it.
Okay. Rick, you start.
Rick?
So, like I said, I'm right on the fence with this movie. I don't know if it's watchable or terrible. It feels like a movie that you would find out of the $5 bin at Walmart, and the special effects and the acting back that up. Great action, but a lot of the plot points and writing didn't make a damn bit of sense. Actors were terrible. Liu Kang was a pussy. Sonya Blade was terrible. So I'm going to say 1.75. Actually, I'll bump it up to a 2. I'll give it an even 2 spicy sombreros, or whatever Scott called it.
I wish that I would have... Man, spicy sombreros is perfect.
Okay. Well,
Stephen King.
All right.
Thank you.
I
Thank
know.
you for that.
I don't think it's exactly a fair reflection of the movie. It's not going to deliver on your narrative, really. But again, that's not. We reviewed a movie 2 weeks ago that was it 2 or 3 now? I can't remember. But we talk about plot lines that don't matter, holes in stories, terrible acting, and we had a good time with it, and we had less fights. I mean, there's less action in that movie than there was in this one. If you total it up, there was
No neons.
There weren't a whole lot of neons, but there were a lot of fun fatalities. That's really what I was the most jazzed for. I would say if you're a Mortal Kombat fan, you're not going to go into this feeling very ripped off in terms of violence. But yeah, like I said, it's definitely like not the best story. Would not call it a $5 movie. I don't think it's unwatchable. I don't think it borderlines on unwatchable and tolerable. I think it borderlines on a whole hell of a lot of fun and kind of ridiculous. It's definitely something that you can enjoy even if you can't really sit there and get a lot of meat off the bone. So I think for me, coming in at I'm going to give it a 3 out of 4 ice spears. Since, I mean, like I said, we talk about Godzilla and Kong. If I'm being fair here, I thought I had a little bit more fun total. I thought I had fun in Godzilla and Kong, tons of it, but I had more fights in this one. I don't think it's fair for me for how I would rate those two movies side by side. I think that's a fair score. They're both solid 3s in my book.
I respect that score. I think it's wrong, but I respect it. Honestly, that was going to be my score when I left the theater. But the last 2 weeks, and obviously just talking about it right here, I'm going to go right in the middle of you guys. I think it was fun. I'll probably watch it again if it's on. Like, I guess it's not just on TV. Like, that's not how TV works anymore. But I'm gonna give it another shot. I mean, I'm already kicked a dead Goro. But 2.5 robot baby arms.
Robot baby.
Yeah, because those things were laughable when he was like, "Oh, look at this! They look like little chicken arms." Like,
He looked like Deadpool when he was growing.
yeah, it's exactly. And I was like, are these the arms? Is this what it's gonna be? But like I said, it wasn't.
It was emergency surgery, for the record. It wasn't like they had all this material.
Yeah, that was also so. You would think that would be a hindrance. Emergency surgery, you don't put mechanics on people. Especially in an old, like, Buddhist temple? What were they doing? These were old clock parts? What were they doing? But no, I had fun with it. I really did. But, man, if they just would have kept going with the pace of the first half and I know this is weird because you want to see more action, but they amped it up so much at the end that you really don't have much to do. And I mean, you could throw endless amount of characters into the second one, but I just felt that they went on a blood crazy fucking murder spree in the last 15 minutes, which leaves them, a murderer's row of people to just not use in the second one, which I think is just a swing and a miss. So I agree with both of you, right in the middle. I'm glad that I got to go last. 2.5.
Robot baby arms.
Robot baby arms.
Well, there you have it. So,
before we get out of here, do you guys have any recommendations this week?
Yeah. So I talked about it, I believe, a couple of weeks ago. I didn't really watch anything else this week, so finished it last Friday night. Wanted to touch on it. The finale of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I thought they did a pretty good job of exploring Bucky's trauma in this and the loss of his friend Steve Rogers, who he's been with for, several decades. They did a good job with Sam, introduced a few new characters. I thought didn't really have too satisfying of an ending. I thought the whole series as a whole was good, but the finale ended with kind of a whimper. Still a solid TV show. I would recommend it. Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Disney Plus.
Disney Plus. Steven, you got anything?
I got a recommendation for this week. This is from Arrow Player. It's a documentary that I've really been wanting to watch. I think they did a UK release, and I was really kind of heartbroken when I still don't have that region-free player, so I hadn't had a chance to watch it, but got to stream it. It's called Clapboard Jungle. It's from 2020. And it is really just an exploration of the business side of filmmaking. And, and not just like upper echelon filmmaking. This is like how do you go from, nothing to making a movie and really exploring the idea of like not just the idea, but the struggle and how it's just a slog. And it's not to make it sound like there's a romance to it. I felt like I was watching that, and I really kind of it makes you amped up to dive into that world. It's almost like a cautionary tale, but at the same time, it follows Justin McConnell, who's an independent filmmaker from Canada. And this thing covers most of the 2010s. So like it starts off way early in the decade and it ends up wrapping the last bit of footage is from like right at 2020, right before the turn of the new decade. And it's just him trying to break into feature length movies. He's got some shorts. He's been making stuff since he was in his teens. But he's really trying to take that next step to become a feature-length director. And it is heartbreak after heartbreak. And then like it's a roller coaster ride. And a very, very, a lot of insights from a lot of big players. You've got, David Gregory, Severin Films, George Romero, R.I.P. You had Del Toro was in it, Frank Henenlotter. One of my favorites, Douglas Trenchard Smith, was in it, and he did Dead End Drive-In. Oh, you guys have seen that. I love Dead End Drive-In and like Turkey Shoot and a couple Leprechaun movies, I think.
Brian Trenchard Smith, is that who it is?
Yeah. But, I've talked a lot about like content in the past and stuff, and like Del Toro's little bit on it. Like he was talking about like today, what it takes to do stuff. It's just oversaturated. I mean, we all know that. There's too much to watch. And it's, when you mention content, it's like it's not about what you're saying. It's just about, it's a product. It's a thing. It's not about a piece of artwork to a lot of the different bigwigs. And it's just, what is the next thing that's going to sell? And it's going to move through the pipeline and it's going to be on its way. And it's really cool to hear somebody as badass as Del Toro saying the thing that, I mean, it's been on our minds. And it's like, well, you feel like you're right when you hear somebody that you respect as much as Guillermo del Toro say something like that. And, I would recommend the hell out of it. I think it's a good time. It's a ton of insight to a section of the filmmaking world that doesn't normally get that love. You get a lot of creative process documentaries, what it takes to imagine a story and get it from paper to screen. But this is how I want to put this, there's a lot of backstabbing. There's a lot of heartbreak, and there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. And I would recommend the hell out of it. That's Clapboard Jungle. Stream it. If you have a Blu-ray player that's region free, grab it from Arrow, because it's a lot of fun.
All right, so I know that last episode we kind of had our pinkies out. We were old men screaming at children about, our hipster ways and discs and all that. Just what I've heard. I don't know. I don't think so. I think we did pretty good. But I will say the two things I will recommend to you, fine listeners, this week are on streaming. I watched them on streaming. All right? I watched them both on streaming. I watched old Gerard Butler's new joint. Well, new. 2 years old. Angel Has Fallen. The
2 years ago is when that came out?
I think it was 2019.
Man, I've been behind.
The newest in his Has Fallen franchise, which is weird to say out loud. If you've watched any of these, he's the guy in the Secret Service protecting the president. And this one, they frame him for trying to kill him. It's a whole bunch of stuff going on. It's mindless action.
Is it still Aaron Eckhart?
That was never Aaron Eckhart.
What am I thinking of?
Well, it's Morgan Freeman.
Aaron Eckhart's the president. It's one of these. Anyway.
Maybe he was in the first one?
Okay.
I don't know.
I'm going to research
You
this.
might have to research that because it's Morgan Freeman, and Morgan Freeman and Aaron Eckhart could not be more different people. But it's super fun. I mean, I've alluded to this before. Gerard Butler is honestly one of the reasons we have the name for this cast. I was reading a review of something with him and Frank Grillo, and the reviewer said the kings of dirtbag cinema. So a little, inside baseball on why we have this dope-ass name. But Angel Has Fallen is...
That's correct. He was the president in Olympus.
In the first one?
Yeah. I knew I wasn't crazy.
So second one, Morgan Freeman takes over? What the problem is?
I mean, I don't see a problem.
Well, I guess I guess they kind of run together as one movie. That should not deter you from not watching it on Netflix or wherever the I watched it. But the second one is the one that's going to surprise you guys. I watched, and correction, still watching, The Last Dance.
What? The Michael Jordan documentary?
The Chicago Bulls documentary. I only correct you because I'm literally entrenched
It's
in
an
this.
amazing documentary.
Holy.
Very well done.
Okay, these guys know. At this point, I think you guys know. I'm not a sports guy. I've never been a sports guy. It's never been my bag. I get the allure of it. I've just never been that guy. And I just heard so much positivity surrounding this. And I was like, oh, wow, 10 episodes. They're like 45, 50 minutes of pop. I just turned it on. I was like, I'll give it a shot. We'll see how the first episode, killer. Second episode, killer. It's like 5 a.m. I'm on episode 6, I think. 6 or 7 at this point. Holy crap. If you guys don't know what this is, it's on Netflix. And it chronicles the last season of the 90s
of his season, the 98 Bulls.
The 98 Bulls, yeah. They're going for their second three-peat, and this is obviously Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, led by Phil Jackson as the coach. And I know these names. I'm not dumb. I haven't been living under a rock.
I am so impressed right now. Keep going.
No, and Steve Kerr. I forgot about Steve Kerr also being a player. But it's so good. It's not just old footage of them dribbling and doing all their funny shit. It is. I don't understand why this wasn't made a decade ago. And I think I do because Jordan didn't give him a go-ahead. And Jordan can do whatever he wants to. But holy shit, they had a camera crew. Where are all these camera crews that nobody knows about? Every single famous sports figure has had a camera crew follow him around at some point. Nobody knew about the Undertaker Last Ride thing until it came out. Nobody knew about this. This happened in 1998, guys. The camera crew's just following around. They have all this footage sitting. And granted, it's fucking 10 hours long. It probably took them this long to make the thing. But I'm watching it, and I'm just...
From what I understand, there was 100 hours worth of footage.
Oh, it had to be.
That they narrowed down.
And it had to be, and they're also pulling stuff out of the archives, from the 80s and stuff. It goes over everybody's rise. The principle for, it also makes Jerry Krause
look like a piece of shit.
I've read since then, because I'm entrenched in this, Rick. It is good.
I'm
but
excited.
The Jerry Krause stuff, I was like, he can't be the worst human being in the world. It's just the look. He looks like a troll. And rest in peace. The man has since passed away since this thing has come out. But they are not polite to this man.
Jordan did not like him.
Jordan did not like him, but it also seemed like he also did some stupid shit. But then again, I do not run a multi-million-dollar sports organization. I don't know what the deal is. But like I said, it goes over everything having to do with the last dance of these superstars. And it's so good. I guess like when that season was going on, I was 9 years old and I was not into sports. So I didn't realize how big these guys were. They were absolute titans. I knew about Space Jam and I knew he was, did the McDonald's thing and the shoes and everything, but I didn't realize that he couldn't like leave his hotel room without just getting attacked. Yeah. I'm going off on a tangent. It's actually very good filmmaking. It's one of the best, miniseries. I wouldn't say documentary because it's literally 10 hours long. It is a mini series, but it is. I have 3 or 4 more episodes left, and I can't imagine they're going to be any worse than the previous 6 or 7.
Oh yeah, that finale is crazy.
They are on, and that's why I sent you that GIF last night. And I took that personal because even him as a human being, he is a character like Michael Jordan. Because you don't know, like he's kind of a goody guy, but he's also like on the court and behind the scenes, like also scary,
extremely competitive.
Like, oof, I could go on. We could do a cast on this, and I think it would be interesting because I don't know fuck all about sports, but so good. Last Dance. Yeah. Even if you don't like sports, watch this thing.
I don't want to spoil it for you. Have they told the story yet about the guy that told Jordan good game after he beat Jordan yet?
No.
Okay. Well, it dives into his competitiveness. Oof. He makes up a story that a guy told him good game as a slight to whoop that guy's ass. And then years down the road, they ask him about it. He's like, yeah, he never said that. He's so competitive that he will create imagined slights in his head to give himself an advantage.
Wow.
It was a fascinating. I'm so glad that you dove into that.
It's like it keeps getting better and better, but I didn't really the Dream Team stuff when they were doing the Olympics and the guy they faced off against in Croatia or whatever, they like ruined that guy's life. all because Jerry Krause like was just interested in him. Jerry Krause like put the nails in that guy's coffin. Yes. And holy shit. Like I said, we can go into that for 8 hours on this. Last Dance on Netflix. You should 100% check it out.
Please let me know when you finish that.
I will. Yeah. And that's it?
I think so. We are, as always, we're available on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all at Dirtbag Cinema. We are available at YouTube at Dirtbag Cinema as well. So if you haven't had a chance to, please drop over there, subscribe, check out some videos. There's a few out there now. There are many more on the way. So please go ahead and get ahead of the ball on that. We have an email address at thedirtbagcinema@gmail.com. And we got t-shirts. And if you want one, our link is available on our page. It's at cottonbureau.com. So if there's nothing else,
see you at the cinema, Dirtbags.